Hello there YouTube viewers, and welcome back to another edition of Health Matters. Before I go on, I want to just be able to inform you a little bit about the spine and the central nervous system. It's called that because it feeds the body with all its electrical impulses that creates movement and senses touch and feeling of pain. Alright? All the nerve, everything that we have in our body is run by nerves and electrical impulses, and that is in our brain and the spinal cord, and it's called the central nervous system. Each one of those has a nerve off that feeds one of the internal organs and a part of the body, such as the shoulder or the rib cage or the arms, fingers, legs, etc. These nerve pain pathways are called dermatomes, but don't worry about the terminology. I'll be talking to you a little bit more. I'm going to use a highlighter light pen now to indicate with the chart that's behind me of the different types. It's important. I'll explain why as I go along. Looking at the chart here, we see that it's dermatomes, okay? Pain pathways, that's all it means. Now, we spoke about the time before L1, which is up here, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then we said S1, S2, S3. Do you remember that? Now, looking at where S3 is, which is down here where it's situated in the body, but its pain pathway is down here through the buttock, on the back of the body. Now let's look at the front of the body over here. It's here in the scrotal area and in the lower part. So remember when I said to you a couple of sessions ago that it could affect impotency? That's why, because it feeds the nerve that would allow the scrotum and the penis to actually become effective. So it may not be that you're impotent anything else other than the fact that you may have a problem in your low back. Okay, let's move on to the one above, S2. This is the one that's responsible wholly and solely for your sciatica. It goes round there. Doesn't feature anywhere in the front of the leg, just completely down the back. Often mistaken for hamstring problems, because you get a really tight hamstring, and when you try and stretch it, it creates problem. Moving on to the one above, which is S1, which is at the top of the cleft of the buttock, where the buttock folds join. That pain pathway is down here. Now look, it's responsible for heel pain and pain along the side of the outer part of the foot and the little toe. Going on to the main front of it, can you see it's responsible for pain on the outside of the ankle and along the little toe? Moving upwards, the next one up would be L5. L5's name pathway is on the outside of the calf and here on the big toe and the two toes next to it and the ball of the foot. So it could quite possibly be that you've got ball of the foot pain, which is actually nothing to do with things like plantar fasciitis and stuff like that. It could quite happily be, and you might not need orthotics, could be coming from your back. All right? The doctors don't know about these. I don't know why. As a consultant phenomenologist, I have to know all about the body's working, and that's the reason why I know. This information is not rocket science. I've learnt it, so obviously it's out there. But believe you me, I've had people that have come to my clinic have said that they've been told that they've got to wear orthotics because they've got this, that and the other, and in actual fact it's coming from their back, so we've needed to correct that. Let's go back to L5. On the front of the leg we've got outer shin pain, and it goes right across the top of the ankle, right across the top of the foot and into those three toes, the big toe, one next to it and the third toe. And that's why I said, remember that it can cause gout, and you get that feeling, sharpness and pain in the big toe. Now let's move on. L4, which is the one above L5, its pain pathways on the inner side of the ankle. But look, more importantly, it is the one responsible for knee pain and the inner part of the ankle. Okay, often people go and say that they've got a problem with knees, etc. They have x-rays, they have arthroscopies, they have all sorts of things, when in actual fact the problem is in the back. You might not even have pain in the back, but the pain referral, the pain pathway is here. If you can't find a plausible reason for falling over and hurting yourself, or playing football or skiing accident or something like that, and you've got knee pain, the chances are it's coming from your back. All right, especially if you've been doing the things that I've told you not to on my previous programs. Let's move on. L3. Right, L3 is responsible for most hip pain. Its pain pathway is here and right the way across the front of the leg. People have had hip replacements that I've known that haven't got better because L3 pain was there in the first place and hasn't been corrected, so they've had major surgery for nothing. And then they've come to me and I've sorted it out, and they're very cross, but there's not a lot they can do about it because they've gone through an awful lot of surgery for nothing. Moving on, L2 creates pain across the top of the buttock and into the top of the leg, often described as heavy leg syndrome. L1, which is the one that's featured up here, its pain pathway is along the top of the base of the bottom, so it feels like low back pain, and people describe it as having pain right the way across, and it mainly goes into the groin. When you lift your leg to try and put a sock on, you'll notice it's very difficult. You can't stride out because you get pain in this groin part here, and you get pain right across on low back. Next week I will be explaining to you what postural problems you get into that cause pain like that. We want that to be avoided at all costs. The wear and tear through wrong movements will cause those pain pathways. Initially periodic, and then as time goes on, the more you do it wrong, the more those pain pathways occur because you're inflaming the nerve that's pressing on that. If you find these programs useful, please don't keep them to yourself. Send the URLs to people that you know just that might have problems. Okay? Don't keep them to yourself, pass them on. That's the whole point of me doing them. All right? Take responsibility for your own actions. I'll see you next time when we'll talk about the pitfalls of the postures that cause these problems. Till then, take care. Bye now.